Hello and welcome to this new lesson. Today we will talk about bootloading your chips optional. It's optional because we clarify why you might need bootloading in the previous lecture. Bootloading options. There are two options for bootloading your chips. The first being quite easy and the other being a little more tricky. We will cover both so that we will be on the safe side. Bootloading your Atmega chip using Arduino board and an AVR programmer. This is the first option. The second option is bootloading your Atmega chip in your newly prepared breadboard with an AVR programmer. So let's talk about the first option, which is bootloading your Atmega chip using Arduino board and an AVR programmer. Before going further, you must know that there are also many different kinds of AVR programmers, but two are most commonly used. As you can see, in the left we have AVR ISB MK2, this is one. We have USB Mini, USB Tiny ISB, and we have Arduino ISB. These are the three common options, AVR programmers. First, place your Atmega chip into the Arduino board with the pivot of the chip facing outward. So as you can see, here we are placing our chip. Set the jumper to an external power supply and connect a 12-volt power brick. As you can see, we are connecting the power supply externally. We are not using the USB power supply. Please make sure not to use the USB power supply. Your board needs to be externally powered when using the AVR ISB MK2, but is not needed with the AVR Tiny ISB. Then attach the 6-pin female plug of your AVR programmer to the 6 male header ICSB pins with the plastic hub of the ribbon cable heading face inward. As you can see, this is our male header 6-pin, and this is the wire that comes from the programmer that we mentioned earlier, this AVR ISB MK2. These are the wires that we must connect to our board here, as you can see, and we have to power externally and place our IC here. Note the AVR ISB MK2 turns its LED green when they have been hooked up correctly and are ready for programming. The LED turns red if it is hooked up wrong, so you must go back. Here is a LED. If it's green, then you have hooked up the programmer the right way. If it's red, then you hooked up your programmer the wrong way, and you have to adjust your hookup or your setup for programming. This is a very important point to mention. When bootloading an Atmega chip on a breadboard, the AVR programming adapter SKU from Sparkfun is incredibly handy. As you can see, it's a very tiny AVR breakout board. This adapter breakouts the 6 pins from the programmer to 6 inline pins for easy attachment to the breadboard. All the pins are also labeled, making it very easy to connect it up to your chip. As you can see, ground 5 volts, MISO, SCK, reset, OSI. This is one of the AVR programming adapters, and it's a very easy to use adapter. It's very cheap. You can purchase it anywhere, $1 or $2. Now let's go on and talk about using our breadboard. Don't worry if you don't have an AVR programming adapter. You can still bootload without it. It will, however, be more of a headache to set up. The two images of the left to the left or to the right in this case are great references when hooking up a programmer to an Atmega chip without an adapter board. The images tells you what all the holes in the 6 pins AVR plug are, and you will simply need to stick wires in the end and run them to your Atmega chip. As you can see, this is a top view, this is a bottom view, this is the pins, 6-way header, and these are the cable head pins. As you can see, MISO, SCK, reset, VCC, ground, MOSI. These are the 6 pins. This image is a view from the bottom and labels each of the holes. Take note of the square as to what orientation your cable is in. As you can see, this will show you the orientation, this box here, so that you won't label these pins the wrong way. So in the next lesson, we will begin bootloading our chip, and we will talk in more details about how to use it. I know that this lesson was very long and very complicated, but I wanted to show you all the options that you have to bootload your AVR or Atmega chip. Thanks for watching. If you have any question or if anything isn't clear, please ask in the Q&A board. This is Educational Engineering Team.